we all know it's 2024, a very strange year indeed. So we want to kind of get with the times. And things have changed. We all know, like everybody knows how much they scroll and how attention spans are way different than they used to be. So we're all kind of clear on that, but it means it's not just for us, it's for our people too. So, what do we do about that? And if we kind of take a look at life, everything's instant gratification, everything is short. From like the way you drive through and pick up food, if anyone's doing that, hopefully not, but you might be, or you might be just taking water to mix to a package, stir, pick up packages, whatever. But when you can literally fry in seconds, like we know short is kind of in. And we get stuff delivered by the next day, even if we never leave the room anymore. And it frustrates us if it takes longer than that, right? And in an instant, we can generate hundreds of social posts where it would have taken you weeks and do artwork that you probably never would even get done in your whole lifetime. So, I mean, you can literally dump more crap into the universe than a normal person can ever even absorb. And then we know that now 60 seconds is too long. We have the video guy on here, and I'm sure he'll agree with me and tell you that like it's really between 7 seconds and 14 seconds that you want to do your videos now. So it just shows you how people are consuming things now. So then we have these staggering statistics of about 92% of people that don't finish your books and your courses, those things that you take years to create and write for them. I had someone say to me, oh, 3 months is too long for me to make a deck. I want to do it right now. And so like, this is what we're up against, right? With all of our stuff that we're teaching. So what happens to your content in this time? Like the stuff you spend, again, years creating, how do you get into your client's head and your client's heart when they're overwhelmed, distracted, and they have like, they're scrolling and they have, I think people call it now popcorn brain. Like we're on to the next thing really quickly, but we still want to make the difference that they came to us for, right? So there's definitely a solution. You can deliver it in a unique, effective, and impactful way. The simple is not always easier for us to get our big content simplified for people, but it is our job, right, to make it really easy so you can condense your beautiful content into golden, digestible nuggets of information. And one small step, one tiny shift, one thought, one provocative question can inspire a transformation for people. So again, then you're providing this solution, a smart strategy to think clearer, condensing your content into those golden bites. A card deck really does work for people because it's easy, it's available, it's effective, and it's fun. It fascinates, it directs, it guides, right? It can do so many cool, fun things. And now in 2024, it can always be with you. Because what we're going to show you today is that it can live on your phone, which unfortunately no one's walking out of the house without it. So what we're going to show you tonight, I'm going to introduce you for those that don't know Nick, this premier marketplace and app for decks, where there's over 700 decks now, coming close to, it's growing all the time, every day. But what I love about this place is that, okay, if you look at the top, for your clients, you have a multiple-sided card. So this is like, if you think, we know a card deck in our hands, right, in a printed card deck, but when you have this on the app, you have multiple sides, 3, 4 sides of a card. So you can, they can flip it and take it in a different way. There's audio, video, journal notes, meditation, all in one place. So they don't have to go anywhere else but right there. No distractions, right? And then for you, all in one place, QR code, coupons, free trials, social images, and opt-in, like email opt-ins. So if you think about, like, this is super, like, amazing, guys, to be able to have something like this and solve a big problem for people in 2024 and moving on. So now that you kind of have your head wrapped around that a little bit, next on deck is Deckible. And Nick is going to now show us what really is possible on Deckible and all of the really cool life examples of what you can do with cards on this app. So I want you to really start thinking. I'm going to stop sharing so Nick can, but I want you to start thinking, okay, I've got content and you have content. That's great. Now you have a problem because you have to get it to your people. So now we're going to see, what's the solution to that? We're pretty good. We did our hour.
Okay, cool.
And so we're going to wrap up. And hopefully you all let's put in the chat. I'd love to just know, we love to hear what your takeaway is from what you learned tonight. So let's just throw that into the chat. Kathy's saying, I see how I can use Dex also as a lead magnet. Totally. That's great. Anybody else with their takeaways? So we know what you love the most. Full of potential and creative possibilities. Jean, yay. Awesome. I need to edit. Yeah, you'll get the QR code. Again, it's just right there. As soon as you load your deck, you can grab it.
Does it for you.
Yep, it does it for you. Don't have to do anything. That's the thing. So that's also simple. Jennifer inspired to put the finishing touches on a second deck. Yeah, and upload the videos. Awesome.
Yeah, I see you've sold a few decks already as well. That's cool.
Amazing.
Really, the whole thing is the more you promote it, and I think one of the things I always advocate is recognize that digital decks are new and don't get too complicated and explain everything. The more simply you explain it to people, because when you say the word digital deck to some people, their brain goes, I don't know, what does that mean?
Yeah.
They just get this.
I don't even like that word because it has a connotation of a digital download or something.
Right.
And it's so not that. And I love what you said, Grace is taking away the opt-in, the marketing, and this is a low ticket product. That's exactly right. It's a product.
I think one of the things that it's not a digital deck, it's a digital experience. Deckible is an experience, right? And experiences, you may not know this, but if we read something, remember 10% of what we read. If we hear it, we remember more. If we see it, when we experience it, we remember 90% of what we experience. And Deckible is an experience that's therefore very memorable. Yeah, experience and practice are definitely what it's all about.
Yeah, amazing. Valencia, lovely. Jennifer, promotion is the key. Yes, when you make decks, they're not meant to be made and put there and forgot about, right? So sometimes people think, I'm going to put something on Amazon, put something on my website, put something on Deckible, and it's just going to magically get into hands. No, it won't.
You have to definitely link back to your link from your website to the Deckible deck. That's really important. That's definitely going to help you get found and help. The more people do it, the more everybody gets found, and that's important.
Excellent. That's something to write down and remember to do, everybody. Awesome. All right. Okay. Thank you for spending the evening with us. That was fun. Thank you, Nick, for every single time that you come and present to us. There's more and more amazing stuff added to the experience. So Lou's going to be putting a deck up. Gail Ann's putting a deck up. Jennifer's getting her second deck up. And Bridget, who left, is getting her deck up. So there's a lot of people here.
I always say everyone who's in this group knows somebody else who is a card deck creator. I pretty much get whether they've actually made one or they should. And all I would ask you is we have got where we are today because people have referred others. So I just ask you, please because if I reach out to a new creator, I just run into brick walls and skepticism and da-da-da-da. When if an existing creator reaches out and says, hey, you've got to speak to Nick, you've got to see Deckible, because honestly, I can tell you what Deckible is. It's not the same as experiencing it. And if you spend this amount of time watching and playing and learning, it really sinks in. You realize how valuable and transformative this can be.
Amazing. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Good night. All right.
So I think the big thing is, and it's funny that, when we started Deckible, we had this vision to digitize card decks. The more and more we've got into the space, we've realized the opportunity is way bigger than that. I don't think when we began, we truly recognized that card decks were a medium, and a medium disrupts. It's an absolute hard fact. You look at music, the digital medium of Spotify completely disrupted the music industry. The digital medium of audiobooks, Audible and Kindle completely disrupted the book industry, right? Netflix disrupted streaming of TV, right? And card decks just got left behind. And my kind of perception as a technologist, because before this, I was co-founder of a startup called Listly, and lists are another medium, right? All of this is like, wow, here is this really cool format. And one of the things I've discovered, there's a lot of people who love decks. And we did a little poll before for those people who arrived a little bit late. There were people in the audience today who've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus decks. And if you ask those people why they love decks, this is not critical in any way. They probably don't have a clear answer because they've just bought one deck and another, and they've fallen into loving decks, right? I found two distinct groups in all of our research with Deckible. There's the facilitator coach community who use decks and own a lot of decks. And then there's the tarot and oracle community who only use a lot of decks. And we're like, whoa, just a minute. These people are all using cards for the same reason. They don't really know it, right? And so Rosie and I have had, God, how many conversations, like back and forth, tidbits of information passing, the appreciation of short form media, the recognition of how we all learn as a learning medium. So the potential to deliver Deckible as a card deck, as a course, as a downloadable PDF that you can actually use. I mean, who's downloaded a workbook? They're always offered in our stream, right?
And then you don't even know where it is on your desktop after, right? Like,
they just don't work.
It
was wonderful in the 1990s, get my decade right? When we all sat at our computer, a PDF was amazing. But now the PDF, I want to actually answer the questions that are in the workbook. I'm not going to type those into a PDF, right? So all of these problems we see as the same, and that's what the magic of Deckible is. And so I'm going to dive in now and kind of take you through that. But for those of you who's used Deckible, who's got Deckible installed? Show of hands. And there's a whole bunch of apps on decks on Deckible that are free. If you haven't got them, you can just go to Deckible/marketplace/free, and they're all there.
And I want to just congratulate, because Jennifer's here, and Jennifer just published a deck on Deckible, gorgeous deck. Grace is in the middle of in the new class right now and getting ready to publish her deck on Deckible.
Yeah, I think
Gillian is getting ready to publish her deck on Deckible, and Lou has his deck on Deckible.
I think Jennifer, you're into your. I see your second deck started. I think somewhere.
Second deck in app testing. Yeah. Thank you guys, an amazing.
Honestly, I loved. if I get a chance, I'll show your deck today because I thought it was really, really great.
It's very cool. I think Lou has his hand up also.
Yeah, Lou, shoot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I hit it by accident. But
okay.
I have my physical deck, but I was just thinking how much more versatile a digital deck is than the physical deck.
And the honest weird thing, out of the two camps that I've talked about, the tarot and oracle camp, there's a feeling in some of those people that I need to hold the deck in my hands. I'm going to charge the deck with energy. It's a belief, because the same belief applies digitally. What really matters, because when you go to a reader or you do your own reading, the only person who brings meaning to you, that puts the story into your life and makes it come true, is you, right? The internal story, the cards just set you up to let that story come into you, right? And that's kind of the magic of card decks for me. And I've learned so much about why card decks are magical. I don't think I understood it when we started. I'm still learning. Month on month, I keep coming up with more revelations. And that's why if you look at Deckible.com, we describe card decks as being like short form, loose leaf books, short form media. And some people might go, what's that? I thought we're just trying to describe the power that card decks bring. And when you make them all pocket sized, it's fun and engaging. Because if it's not fun and engaging, you get to the exact spot that Rosie talked about, where 90+% of people do not finish your book, right? The good thing about a deck is you shuffle it up. There is no start, no end. You don't need to finish it. But do people revisit the deck and come and draw a card again? It's snackable, right?
Love that about you don't need to finish it, so you don't have the pressure on yourself that like, oh, I don't have the time because I need to finish a whole chapter, or I need to finish a whole this or a whole module. It's like so you can finish in 30 seconds.
Exactly. So what we're giving you is a tool for you to sell to your customers that makes your information snackable inside their daily routine, right? That just sit and think with that for a minute, right? The biggest advice I would give everyone who's in this group today is start using Deckible today and use it for your own personal daily practice. Go and buy half a dozen decks on Deckible. Don't use your own deck because that will bias you. You can add your deck into the mix as well, but use other people's decks. You will see what is your daily practice, right? We could talk for an hour about daily practice. Your daily practice will be different than anybody else's, and your daily practice will be different in 6 months' time because you change, life changes you, right? So the idea of having this with you, you're building healthy habits, and that's really the deep magic of card decks. So enough chat from me. Let's go on and show you some of this. I'm just going to share screen, share with audio.
And just for sake of time and everything, if you have questions, just throw them into the chat, and then I will address them at the end.
Just a minute, I did the wrong share. Share. iPad cable with audio. Share. There we go. And there we are. Okay, so here I am in Deckible, and in case you basically there's two parts that this, when you start off in Deckible, you'll be in your home screen, and you won't. I've got hundreds of decks here.
And this is, you're sharing your, so Deckible, just to be clear, because this does confuse a lot of people, Deckible is an app. You use it on your phone, or you can also use it on an iPad. Nick is sharing his iPad screen. So everything he's doing, he's touching with his fingers. So if you are looking at your iPad or your phone, you're going to see what you're seeing right here, right now. Okay?
The same experience is on here, right? And so at the top of the screen, I'm just flicking through all the different decks on Deckible. And I can pick a deck. There's a deck here called a launch deck. This is a free deck. And it basically gives you 42 ideas of the kind of decks you could create on Deckible or use as a consumer. And so we can just browse the deck, or we can go to, and I'll start with that, browsing the deck. And here I am. I could just flick through the deck, and I kind of think, I can look at a particular deck, art history deck. Well, that's interesting. I just tap it, and you see, and oh, flashcards, that's interesting to me. And I'll flick through and find some more. Oh, podcast deck, what's that? That's interesting. And quizzes. And now I've chosen 4 cards, and I've popped those cards onto my canvas, right? And now I have these cards. Because it's Deckible, everything is super tactile, right? I am literally just doing that. I'm pinching and zooming the cards. And if I decide, podcast isn't quite what I thought, I get rid of it. It's gone, right? So I'm managing. I've got a very tactile experience here. And if you think about every app that you use today, it's all this, right? That's all we do on a phone is this. Or if you're bumbling or Tindering, it's like left to right to swipe. But you're scrolling like this. With Deckible, you're in there choosing. When you do pinch and zoom, it's a fine motor skill. We have 100% of your attention. And that's a really important thing. You are engaged with the cards. What does the card mean to you? At any time, you can flip the cards over. You can zoom in. If there's video, you can play the video. But here it is on the screen for me. And I've just browsed the deck, picked 3 cards. And if I back out of here, I save to my timeline. And you can see the second half of the screen. So the top of the screen is all these decks, right? The top. And at the bottom half of the screen is your timeline, and it shows you what card readings I've done today, right? And I can go back into that because it saved the reading I just did. So anyone who ever draws a card from a deck, we often go, oh, I'll remember what card I did today. And you won't because you're a human being, right? Deckible never forgets. Right.
But what I love about this is that you have a history, right? It goes back like what, a year or something. So if
it's infinite. It's infinite.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're working with the client and you want a client to go through 30 days of something, like Lou's deck is 30 days, You can actually go and see if you missed a day. You can say, okay, I did all the 30 cards. So because it's right there, the timeline, and you go back and look at it again. And so that to me that's a huge thing when you're delivering content to your client. And I think, Jennifer, too, you have where people go in order, they can see what they did and what they pulled, what they didn't pull, what they need to do. So cool.
So I can scroll back here through last month's readings, right?
Amazing.
So it's all there for me, yeah. And this is what I call my done list. And your Deckible screen, this is all of your log of all your events. That is your personal growth toolkit. That is proof.
Yeah.
That's on the back. Nick, I'm really good. I've turned up every day. I've done a little bit of work. I put myself first. For 30 seconds today, I did 2 minutes today, I did 5 minutes then, but I'm accumulating all of this. It's a healthy habit. And that is why daily practice works equally in the workplace, right? So a business can have daily practice just as much as an individual. And we don't actually want more apps. We want less apps that do more, because we have enough apps we use so rarely, we can't remember how to use them. So if we could use fewer apps that do more, we're more likely to remember how to use them and get more value from them. And the big reason why, right, the big reason why with Deckible, your daily practice can stay alive is when you get vaguely bored, and you're a human, so you will, you just pick a different deck. You don't need to throw your daily practice out, right, and start again and use a different app. You just use a different deck. And you can mix decks. You'll see that in a minute as I go through. So this is the Deckible timeline. And anytime I can go back into there, you'll see I can also journal on that. So if I was to, this is an entry. I've picked 2 cards here, receptive and energetic. And then I could, if I just tap on it and journal, and now I can type, right, what I'm feeling, or I can even, and if I'm, human beings are full of excuses. So why don't we journal? Didn't have any paper, didn't have any time, left my card deck at home, right? Didn't have a pen. All those excuses.
Love the paper thing, because that's so true. Like, you don't have to worry about it. Like, again, that's all in one place, right?
So the other thing is I can't type. Well, full stop. I can just talk to my phone. I can express my feelings and save it away and come back and then later when I'm feeling more responsive to what's going on today. Right? So you've got it.
And I think, Nick, too, you can actually come back and also see your journal prompt as well. Am I right?
Yeah, you come back, it's there. Look, there it is.
There you go. Right? So it doesn't go away.
And there it is. But you can, and any previous journal entry will be there for you. Every time you draw in a card, it's there, right? So it's a very important part of it. It's understated in Deckible at this point. And as each version of Deckible, we're gathering feedback from people all the time. So that's why I encourage you to use it on a daily basis, because we want to hear what you think. If you don't like something, tell us what's missing. Tell us. We're not, psychic in this regard. We're gathering feedback from lots of people, and the Deckible experience is beautiful. It's incredibly different than anything else because it's not doing this up-down scrolling. There is a shift. A massive societal shift that Deckible jumps on. We are shifting from passive consumption to active participation, active engagement, right? And Deckible expects your customer to engage and participate and do and write down what they are feeling, what they are thinking, what cards they drew, what videos did they watch, right? It's all there as part of their log, right? And that's a big deal. So anyway, I'm just going to go back to this month before I get confused. And so I briefly showed you browsing a deck. So I can come in and I'm going to choose this deck and just jump to the canvas. And here's the cards. And I can slide through that. I can also flip the cards over if I want to. And I can see the face of the cards here, flip again. And there's the guidebook for the card, right? Did you realize that was a 3-sided card, right? Flip, flip. So I can shuffle the deck.
I love the shuffling. That's so fun.
And you stop, right? You shuffle again, stop, shuffle, stop. You're in control. You are controlling the randomness. That's a very important part of Deckible, right? I can choose this card. I'm literally like, I am dragging that card onto the canvas. There it is, right? But I can also quick draw and let the universe choose a card for me, right?
Yeah.
This is important
So good.
stuff. Because sometimes if you're in a positive frame of mind, choosing's easy. If you're depressed, not in a great place, if you're, this is speaking for your client, a random selection is motivation.
Yeah.
It takes effort away from people, right? So there it is. I've chosen two cards. It looks stunning. I can flip over to the guidebook if I want to. I can flip back to the card. I can journal on it if I want to, or I could even meditate, right? And if I just meditate on that, it just does a countdown for me. And so I'm now like sitting with my thoughts and feelings with that card. It's going to save away that for me. And it's going to ping
Again,
me.
it's all in one place. So you as the
Right.
creator get to tell your people exactly how they're going to use your tool. So great.
There it is, right? It's in my timeline saved away. And so so far I browsed the deck. I went in and did the canvas, right? So that this is the canvas. And here's the cards that I picked, right? But I can also go in and choose a spread, right? Let me pick a different deck for that. There we go. So here's a deck that's got more spreads, right? And so we actually provide you a number of spreads, but this creator's actually created their own custom spreads, and you can design your own spreads in Deckible. And by the way, spreads, depending if you're sitting in the business camp, spreads is not a business word, but canvases is. Like, what is a SWOT analysis? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. It's a 4-card spread that the whole business community uses. They don't use the word spread. They don't use the word tarot, but actually there are lots. There's now today, I see many more people crossing over. There are lots of business decks that have got a touch of woo in them in the workplace. You know, people, it's up to you. You choose whatever you believe, whatever's right for you, whatever your clients believe, let them choose that, right? So here, if I just choose a past problem, solution, cause, spread, right? Here it is. I shuffle the deck. Just to make it more fun, I'm going to flip it over so I can see the cards. If I want to, I can shuffle it again. There it is. And now I can just go through and choose a card, or I can use quick draw and let Deckible choose the cards for me, right? And then I can reveal the cards and I tap them over.
Ew, that must be what happened to them.
I don't know. I did something weird there. Let's try that one. Come back in. Just do.
Maybe they're the jokers.
I did, yeah, something's up there. Let me just flip that over. So I'm just going to choose these 3 cards, right? And now I've got those 3 cards in my spread. There we are. And you know, I can journal on it. And below, if I tap on any one of those cards, I can zoom to it, right? So I can then tap through the sides and see the guidebook for that card. If I want to, I can scroll down and see the description for that card in the spread and the description of the card. And you've created all. You can create your own spreads with all of this words. It's all your language coming through, right? So it's incredibly powerful to create your own spreads and have them in the deck. That's
gorgeous,
right? And so that's saved away. So now I've shown you 3 things. I've shown you, well, I've shown more than 3 things, but I've shown you, you can just browse the deck. One of the things to bear in mind is we think of all these things in Deckible, right? All these features, and sometimes let's just pull it back to basics. The content of the card is valued. You don't need all these features. They're great. We have lots of them. We make it more fun and engaging, but we're putting all of this value that is your deck in your client's hands, right? So
and it's up to the creator also to decide which things you don't and you shouldn't do all the things, but you decide which way your deck is going to work best.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
That's the same when you any software tool you use, you don't use every feature, but you're glad you're there when you need them, right? And you choose that for your deck. So let me just keep track of where I was going here. So I've basically shown you the canvas, right? How I think this was, yeah, this was where I showed you the canvas. Here's the cards, and I added and removed cards if I didn't want them. I showed you browsing the deck. I've shown you doing a tarot layout or a spread. I could also, one of the most amazing features of Deckible is if I get rid of that card, I've just got this one card. I can now plus and choose a different deck. This is mind-blowing because you think about who does mixed deck readings? Just about every reader adds supplemental cards. They want to add cards from different decks. The value of adding cards from different decks is you're adding in more randomness, more creation, more combination of new ideas. The human brain, like Rosie started off saying, we could go, we could order our fast food, right? We don't think. We just go and we order the same food all the time when we go to our restaurants. And one of the things that creativity from card decks brings you is helps you think of different things, put different things in front of you to inspire you when you're stuck, to get you out of a rut. So here I'm going to pick, this is a business deck, business meerkat. It's a tarot deck for the business space, right? An example. But I'm going to pick cards for clear thinking from this deck. I could shuffle it, and I could just do a quick draw, and it'll pick me a card at random. So I've now picked Courageous, and I've got the Empress, and let me pick a card from a third deck. And scroll here through and pick a different one. I'm going to pick the Emotions deck. I'll shuffle that quickly, and I'm just going to quick draw an emotion onto there. So now, if I close that down, I've got Grief, Courageous, and the Empress.
Yeah.
That is, and now you're perfectly primed to go and journal on that, right? So I can journal on all the 3 cards together, or I can pick one of the 3 cards to focus on. So I go through that, right?
So good.
And I can
so powerful, right?
Right.
This is so powerful. I love it.
It is. It's simple. It's engaging. This works on your phone or your tablet. It's beautiful. It's different. It is different than the other app. But we didn't. If we'd have created an app that just did this, it wouldn't have been Deckible, right? And so recognizing the way people use cards is your desktop is your canvas, and you move the cards around, you shuffle them. Anything you can do with a physical deck, you can do with Deckible on your phone, on your tablet, and that is very, very powerful, right? So I've just shown you. So I've talked about journaling. I've talked about meditation. I've talked about daily practice, and the way I think about daily practice, I describe this as your done list, right? When you're climbing Everest, every step you take it is building on the previous steps, right? You can get to base camp and go, oh God, I'm exhausted. I'm getting nowhere. And you can look backwards and go, look how far I've come. Isn't that motivating? And that's what the essence of logging your timeline, logging your daily practice in Deckible is, right? And it's there for you to grow into over time, and as you nurture and develop. Not everyone has a daily practice because there hasn't been a tool like Deckible to make it as easy to create that. And there hasn't been a tool with nearly 800 decks in it and growing to build on top of that, right? So here it is. So that was that. And then I'm just gonna and then I've shown you shuffling. I've shown you how you can basically shuffle the deck, and you can shuffle any face. It doesn't matter, right? I've shown you quick draw. So you can basically throw a card at random onto the canvas. Let me show you which deck am I got this? Oh yeah. So I'm done. Yeah, this deck, Wash Your Pig. Basically, this deck has got 3 different suits, right? And it's going to pick me one from 2 cards, one from each of 2 suits. So here we are. It's got the what and the who. And the game, this is an advertising game, right? But I think I remember one of you said something about creativity and writing was one of the decks you were planning on creating. Well, here we go. I look at this. It says, write a headline for a cannabis dispensary. So that's a random card from the deck, right? And you tap over, speaking to people who hate their job.
Yeah, that's great.
And so if I redraw, this is the, I don't know if you've seen that feature in Deckible, but at the top right, there's a little arrow. If you've just drawn the cards, you can redraw. So now I've got write a headline for noise cancelling headphones using words not related to cars. And I
I mean,
redraw.
you're really gamifying
Right?
learning as well, because that's so fun, right?
And sometimes you do this and it doesn't do anything. It just doesn't bring it, but that's you're engaged. We we love card decks because they associate with our childhood memories of playing friends and games with family, etc. Right? And we're inserting a little bit of serious work, personal growth stuff into that. And that's how people grow and shift by using the deck, right?
It's a good one.
So there we go. B-Day starting with only. Right, there we go. So there it is, right? And so that's the gamified element. And you can put as many suits into a deck as you want. You can let people choose the cards randomly, or Deckible can choose cards from different suits and combine them into your reading. Right? So it's turned it into a game. You could imagine loading all the artwork from Trivial Pursuit, and you've got Trivial Pursuit on the go to take on a camping trip. It's in the car, right? You can create gaming content. So then, it's a different way of monetizing your content. There really are, hundreds of different deck types out there. And I'm just going to show you, just remind myself of that. So I'm going to show you another deck. And this deck isn't free yet, but it will be very soon because I haven't released it yet. There's a deck for that on Deckible. And the reason I've called it There's a Deck for That is because Apple, when they launched the iPhone, spent a great deal of effort teaching us what an app was. And there's an app for this. And with Deckible, it's exactly the same.
Mm.
You need to teach people that there literally is, you just lost a family member, there's a deck on grief. You got a family road trip and you want to play a game, there's a deck for that. What emotions are you feeling? There's a deck for that, right? You're looking for some personal growth. You're looking for a strategy, you're looking for creating writing, there's a deck for that. Okay? So this deck,
well, it's what's amazing, like in a class of however many people, no one's ever doing the same kind of deck, which is
right.
fascinating, right?
And so here we are shuffling up. There's coaching. I'll play the shuffle again, right? There's daily challenges. Decks are perfect for that. There's spirituality, prompts and choices. There's literally, if you go to the Deckible homepage, there's 7 types of deck, right? And we have amazing decks in all these categories. And the value of this is to your customer, they can buy more and more decks and fit into their daily practice. Yours is not the only thing that they're revolving around. And that's actually a positive thing because they're actually attached to Deckible. I own 800 plus books on Audible, right? When we started Deckible, we knew card deck creators own 10, 20 plus decks. There are people on Deckible with 10, 20 plus 50 decks, right? And that was our belief. We've gone and created that. We've gone and found all these creators who are now selling their decks to lots of people. I can tell you for a fact, 30+% of our revenue comes from repeat purchase, right? What does that mean? It means every day people are buying more decks. They're buying their second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth.
Well, just for everybody, for context, you started out when I first met you, you were like, okay, my first goal is to have 100 decks on here. I'm going to get to 100. And now I think you're close to 800 now, right?
Very close to 8. Yeah. Yeah. And the first 100 was pure slog because we were selling the idea to someone, but I didn't even have a product to show them.
Right.
I couldn't show them. It didn't do as much as it does now. It's not as slick as it is now.
No, it's
we didn't understand
so
the problem like we do now, right? But here we are.
Well, you needed also the people to give feedback for what they wanted, and so it's really morphed into it satisfying so many people, and as you're watching, right?
So here I've just chosen three different deck ideas one from wellness, one from coaching, and one from daily challenges. And this is a more customer-focused deck. And this says you can use a deck to test and refresh your memory, right? Flashcards, we know that as an example, right? Wellness and therapy, we can use a deck to reflect deeply on life. It's healthy to look back and think because then we can shape the way we move forward, right? And then a daily challenge deck, it's fun to build healthy habits, right? This deck has, I think it has 20, there's 28 ideas. And it's basically just teaching people that there is a deck for that. The card decks are universal. When you build your deck on Deckible, it's sitting amongst all this amazing content. We have just recognized that card decks are a medium that is as significant as books, music, games, news, etc. Right? And we're just on a mission to build that out. It's getting better with every release, right? And there we are. Oh, yeah, that one. Let me just. So there's this was I wanted to show you the 9. So 9 problems that card decks solve, and I'm just gonna pick a blank canvas, and I'm gonna flip those over. Oh, I've picked one already. Challenges, play and learn, right? So I've done that card. There is a video behind this card, right? So I just tap on video, and it starts playing my video. So it's going slowly today.
It never takes that long.
It doesn't. No, I know something strange. Terrible Wi-Fi. Let me go back. Something's up. Never do. Let me just save the time. I'm gonna go try. I use one of Lou's decks.
We use Lou's deck. The thing about Lou's deck, so we saw challenges. It's a good opportunity to mention that Lou had a challenge where.
Hey, it's Lou, and we're back with Short Shots. This is your deck for pulling a card to find a prompt to do a short video under 60 seconds for TikTok or YouTube Shorts. And today's prompt is to share your go-to tool. What is the tool that you always come back to and use again and again that you can share with your audience?
Mine. Stop that there, but you got the idea, right?
So this is such a teaching deck because he's giving an example. Right. Yeah, except for the scary guy on there. But if it wasn't so scary, he's giving you an example of his prompt, which is amazing. If you're new to video, this is a great deck because you're like, okay, well, how do I start? How do I stop? What do I say in such a short time? So yeah, Jennifer's saying she did lose challenge last year, and everyone got the deck that came into the challenge.
Right.
And that was an amazing way to use the card deck.
Yeah, if I look at I think I have your deck on here somewhere. There we are. So I'm just going to download Jennifer's deck.
Woohoo! Congratulations to Jennifer.
And I'll pick one
Such a fun deck.
Right.
Meet Matt. He's a planner and he's also a catalytic firecracker. Catalytic, think about it, to combust, to weave elements together to create boldness. And the metaphor is the firecracker. Matt is a doer and an executor who thrives on hustle, productivity, and making things happen.
I'll stop at that, but you get the idea. It's like, because when you get the card to listen, I don't know who knows about the text communicates 7% of everything that's communicated. So if you just have text on your card, you're communicating at 7% of the full thing. If you add in audio, it takes you up to about 30%. If you add in visuals, you get the full 100%, right? And that's why it's engaging. But one of the things that's also important, and this is stuff I didn't really understand when we were creating Deckible, is there's this model called VAC, visual, audio, kinesthetic. We all learn in different ways. Some people are visual, some people are auditory, and some people are kinesthetic. And kinesthetic can mean just I need to move around to learn, or I need to do things to learn, right? Lou's deck is go and do this, right? He's making you go and kinesthetically learn how to make a video by actually doing it, right? And that's the essence, the magic of what we delivered with Deckible, because you can integrate video, or you can integrate audio as well, by the way. So I drew a card before. Here we go.
Listening. Who listens and really hears you? Today, listen well to what is difficult with a compassionate stance toward yourself. How can you listen with self-empathy? And can you feel how that brings you a new closeness with yourself? Listening.
I have to tell you that this is one of my favorite decks. It's so simple. It's so simple, but yet after you hear that, your day, if you wake up in the morning and you listen to that, your day's different. Right. And so that's like the magic in that, in the simplicity. If you can deliver that to a person, and she does have her voice is like, do you want her to keep going?
You could tell she's a professional. She's done her 10,000 hours of yoga teaching, and she commands. When I reached out to Elena before, this was before Deckible existed, I explained the concept to her. She's like, oh, you mean I can record? She recorded one card track for every card, right? An audio track for every card, and there it is, right? It's so powerful to demonstrate card with audio. What does that mean, right? And after that, we then showed, and then Lou went and built his deck from that. And we've learned a lot from that, and Lou's learned a lot, and Rosie's learned a lot from that, and Jennifer's built her deck. And the experience keeps getting better, right? Because we're listening to lots of people. We're getting more and more decks with better and better, more interesting content, because we're exploiting the power of the medium of the card deck, right? And that's what we're trying to we're listening. And if if I listen or hear anything that teaches me more about the medium of decks, we're like, oh, what's that, right? It's fascinating to learn more and more, because we've discovered what we've created with Deckible is bigger than the idea we set off to create. We set off to digitize decks. We've actually created something much bigger. But the reason it's bigger is because we're listening, right? I mean, it's just a
well, yeah. And to compliment you also, Nick, is that, you know, you are open to hearing and you're curious about what people are saying so that you can make it better. And that's the beauty of getting in on this now, is that you're, you know, the ability to just continually make it better and better. So really.
And, you know, some people ask me these questions like, oh, what's selling? What's this? What's that? I'm like, they ask, and it's like, you know what? Audible today, 20 plus years after creating, is selling more audiobooks as a percentage of all the book market 20 years later, right? This is a slow, steady build. You have to ask yourself, if you use Deckible every day for your own personal growth and reflection, are you enjoying the experience, right?
Well, as a creator, it's super important, right? As a creator, you have to use it, because then you'll be able to explain to your clients how they can use it. Otherwise, you will not know what experience you're creating for them or what they're experiencing from it. You have to put yourself in that situation.
And you are living in integrity, telling them to do something you are doing yourself, right? Absolutely, 100%. Because I feel personally, when I look at other course platforms, they're just there to sell you the content. They do not care about the experience. They're like, okay, we're here to help put more money in the creators' pockets. That's great, but it's very short-termist. We're doing that too. We're doing it by saying we're delivering an exciting, engaging experience for the consumer. It's about daily practice and mixing up all the decks, right? I think that will win in the long term. And that's sort of powerful stuff to me. Let me check in where I'm up to. What have I showed you, not shown you? I've shown you that, I've shown you that. Oh, okay, let me show you. This is pretty cool. So this was a mixed deck reading before. Remember I started this? And I'm going to just add in one more card from here, right? That'll do. And then I'll do layout. So the layout tool just randomizes the cards. And if you do a long press on layout, and lots of people use Deckible but don't know about this, but if you long press, you can choose the different mode. Mix, you'll see, and the icon, I can tell the icon has changed, or I know it's changed. So every time I tap it, it just moves them around. I can do a 2-card stack. So it pulls me 2 cards out at once from the cards I've chosen. It just shuffles through that. I could do 3 cards. And it chooses me 3 out of all the cards that I've chosen. And if I have more cards on the canvas, like so. And I choose layout and grid, it just reorganizes them based on what I've chosen, right? So it's very easy this is such a fun thing to record. You can literally on your iPhone record the screen just by dropping down from the top menu. And now if I choose layout, and I can stop the recording.
I love it. So good.
If I jump over to now I need to edit out that bit, but that's a recorded video, right? It's super simple, right? Because one of the things you need if you want to sell your deck and make money and an income stream from this, there's one thing you have to do, and it's not make a deck. So that's the easy bit. You have to keep going promoting your deck. If you want to keep going promoting your deck, you have to be interesting and keep saying different things again and again in different ways. Repeat yourself by all means, but just use different visuals. Or when it's that quick and easy to record an animated video from Deckible, that is super powerful. Who, by the way, oh yeah, well, a couple of you obviously created decks, so you're aware of the collaging capabilities of Deckible.
Right.
But whenever you go to any deck page on Deckible, you can land on that deck page and you'll see, if I go to the deck page, this is the deck page on Deckible. This is in the app, but it looks the same on Deckible.com. And you can slide through all of these. And these are all collages. These collages are all made by one click from Deckible.
Which, right? For people that don't know, when you have your physical cards and you want to put them in, take a picture, you got to worry about the light and the background and this and that. And here it's like you, in an instant, can make an image for social sharing. So it's pretty incredible. Like those things for your business part are amazing. Putting the QR code on your website or in a post somewhere is really awesome.
And there's your QR code for the deck, right?
Yeah.
And if you had a video, the video would be in here as well. One of the things I strongly recommend is if you've made your deck, you should make your own, 60-second shorts video to explain your deck.
Demo. Yeah.
So then people turn up, see your deck, they watch the 60-second short and they go, okay, great. Now I know what it's about. I know why I should buy it. So there we go. That's saved away. And then the important thing as well with Deckible is there is a deck store, and this is the deck store showing you all the different categories of card decks. So if I choose Oracle deck, I can scroll through, and anytime I can click on any one of these. Trying to pick something I don't think I have. And I can now say, get this deck, and I can buy the deck or I can try it. If I try it for 3 days, I can use the deck for 3 days as a trial and then buy it, right? But if I click buy, it'll take me.
I also was really happy with, because we had someone in our group that, a couple of us tried the free trial, and then it just keeps reminding you, do you want to buy this deck? Your day is going to be, your trial is going to be up. Would you like to purchase it? So it reminds your client to, your customer, do they want to buy it?
Right.
So it's super cool.
So there you go. There's an element of looking at the marketplace. So Deckible does an awful lot for you. When your deck is on there, that landing page is on Deckible.com and in the app, it's the same. But the landing page is fully indexed from an SEO perspective. So people will find your deck because of all the copy on your deck page, because of all the genres that your deck exists in, because each genre has a landing page on Deckible, right? And the more decks we have, this is like a rising tide floats all boats. Like the bigger Deckible gets, the better ranking we get. If you haven't linked back to your deck yet on Deckible, you definitely should do that from your website, right? You should link to the Deckible page for each deck, link to your bio page on Deckible, because that adds to our SEO ranking. And with 800 decks. And the more people who link back to it, the more we grow, the better we get, the easier we're found, et cetera, right? So, I think I'm showing. Oh, I didn't really talk about guidebook. I think I did a little bit on this.
A couple ways to do it, right? A couple different ways.
There's a couple of ways to do it. So here's a deck, and this card, if I come in there, it's got the guide is here, right? So that depends. You could just have a
the
text.
Guide is right along the bottom. You just press guide.
Yeah. Or in this deck has the third side. And in fact, this one's got 4 sides, you see, because there's a lot of sides here. So there's the card, there's the artwork for the card, which you can zoom right in on, and then you can flip to, you can see you see those circles across the bottom?
Then you see how many sides. Wow.
You can see how many sides there are. And then here's the guidebook as well, which is available as text.
This is where it's important for you as the creator in whatever you're creating to explain to your people how to use it, that there's multiple sides that they can be clicking, or like Lou would say, okay, watch the video to go along with the prompt so you have an idea. So whatever it is that you're doing, you explain to them so they know flip, and all of that. Yeah.
And I think, it is nice to have.
What you focus on grows.
I'll just stop the audio on that one. It's nice to have, this is the back of the card, the back of the card. You flip it over to the face of the card. It's got the explanation built in, right? That is valuable to have that there. You can have it as text, but it always looks better when you make it a visual element, I think, or if you provide a video, right? So there's no right and wrong answer. We're learning this whole experience. The more decks we load, the more we understand about it. But it's a very powerful tool to have all of that built in. And there it is. There's these are all the different cards that I've drawn. There's my timeline. I go back through it. It's very simple, very effective. You've seen audio, you've seen video, you've seen journal, you've seen meditate, you've seen flip the sides, combine cards from multiple decks. It is a very special, very serious piece of software, but it's actually remarkably simple and tactile and fun to use given all the things that it does.
Question for you, Nick. That's coming from Kathy. There's decks that are always free. Do you rotate them, or there's definitely decks that you have for free, and then there's free trial credits that you earn as you purchase?
Yeah. The free decks are ones that generally we have made those decks free because we made them with the purpose of helping people understand why a deck exists and how they should use it. Moving forward, we will work with creators who want to make their deck free, but in which case we would either sell tokens for the deck so they can pay us, we get paid, and the deck can be free. But it's a marketing tool to let you give out your content for free. The general essence of Deckible is that we're helping you, the artist, the creator, make money from your deck. That's the basics of it. But there is a valuable reason, a rationale behind why creators would want to give away their deck as a marketing tool, as a lead magnet would be the right term for it, right? Yeah. So we're very open to working with people, but
Jennifer had a question about, and you might have already answered this, but do you notice people's preference for audio or video, whether it's corporate or personal consumer?
Sorry, I missed. Say that again.
What are you noticing about people's preference for audio versus video? And is there a difference between corporate versus personal consumer? Are you noticing anything?
You know what? The biggest difference I notice is the people who promote their deck, that actively sell their deck, right? And that's the biggest difference. As to audio or video, every creator has a bias. Some people love to be on video, some don't. Some love their voice, some don't. You can use AI. You can even have an AI generated video, right? And we're very specific with Deckible. We're very focused on. You'll see on the homepage of Deckible the 7 segments 7 categories of card decks that I've shown you in the deck there. The reason we're focused on those is because we have decks in every category and we believe they're valuable. We believe Deckible is more valuable because it has all of those. So we're really supporting that. And we keep seeing, I'm stunned how many decks are created for Deckible, right? Like, because if you've got, so for example, well, Jennifer's deck, right? You may have had the deck outside of Deckible, but now when you see the deck with the video involved, it feels like a 4-deckable deck, right? And Lou's deck started that way, right? But again, now with the video, it really brings to life the fact that, well, here's a deck teaching you how to make shorts that's made of a series of shorts, right? It's hard not to communicate that it's compelling.